Perfect Genetics Challenge, Generation 1, Episode 30. Welcome, Carrots here. This episode, we're introducing a whole new household, and that's all I'm going to tell you about them at this point. At the end of episode 29, we had the three little boys fishing down at the fishing hole at the other end of the world from where they live. There's a big waterfall and lots of fish. The one in the yellow shirt at the top of the screen, that's Martin. He's just aged up from toddler. He is Don's alien son. And the one in the middle with the dark hair, he has just been made real. His name is Pat, and he is the imaginary friend turned real of Percy, the youngest of Olivia and Don's sons. And that's Percy there in the orange t-shirt. He just was so happy to turn his imaginary friend real at last. He's been looking for that potion for such a long time. The thing is, Percy's almost ready to age up to teen, but we will wait to do that until after Pat has got himself to grade A at school, so we can choose a trait for Pat. It's going to be a while before Martin ages up, because he's just aged up now from toddler to child. We'll see some of these three little boys playing together every so often, until, of course, Percy and Pat age up, because they will age up at the same time. Back at home, Gary, who was the eldest of the family, the firstborn of Olivia and Don, he is teaching little Mary how to walk. Mary is Martin's little sister, another of Don's alien children. Martin and Mary have the same mother and father, so they are full siblings. But they're considered by the game to be half siblings of the rest of Don's children. They don't have any of Don's DNA, so I don't quite know how that works. But Don kept them. He's just recently been abducted again. Was really hoping that he wouldn't get another alien pregnancy, but we'll have to wait and see. One more of the boys has to turn his imaginary friend real, and that is Owen. He's working on finding the potion that he needs to have his imaginary friend become real. This is Bill painting. He likes to paint. He's done a few paintings now. Of course, he is living with the household now because he's going to be Cindy's husband, and he and Cindy are going to have the babies that make up Generation 2. Cindy's and Bill are both teens at this moment. Now, what has Owen just done? Oh, he's made a potion, but it's not the one he wants, so he's going to have to continue trying. Up in the kitchen, some time later, the tap has exploded, obviously, and there's puddles all over the floor. Little Mary's sitting there playing in the puddles. Gary is going to fix the tap, I hope. But Petal's a plant sim, and she's got her own novel way of cleaning up the puddles. She's soaking them up with her foot. You can see the mist coming up off her foot as she gradually absorbs the puddle. So that's another special plant sim ability that we haven't seen before. And I've never had a plant sim do it before either. So there you go. It's all new. I was hoping that little Mary might splash in that puddle because she was splashing before I started recording the video. But no, she just wants to sit in it, pick a nose, and then play with her imaginary friend. But Petal's doing a good job soaking up all those puddles. So she obviously doesn't need any more water. Somebody's going to have to come and mop them up. Now, in a household far, far away, there's a dragon egg that's about to hatch into a green dragon. Now, this household is not in the same world as the Perfect Genetics household. Perfect Genetics is in Moonlit Falls. This is in Sunset Valley. And there is a young fairy living in this house, and she was all alone. And her lifetime wish is greener gardens, which means she needs to get to level 10 in the gardening skill. But of course, she can't do that until she's got a garden. So she's been busily finding seeds and planting her garden. Then harvesting was getting a bit difficult. She was running out of time. She lives alone, you see. So she decided to get a dragon egg, and she talked to it the whole time until finally her green dragon hatched. She's got tiny wings. I've never really given those tiny wings to a fairy before. See, she's on that big lot that usually gets a horse place dumped on it. And I used to love playing on this lot, but then when the various venues started getting placed while you're loading up the game, it always got occupied by something I didn't want to play with, but I didn't like deleting. So this lot lot became out of bounds for me. But I've got a mod which stops those lots from being placed. And now I can use it again. Fairy's name is Donna. She's got a green thumb. I know fairies are born with a green thumb, but I've given her the green thumb as a trait as well because, well, I've discovered fairies without the trait that you give them can't revive dead plants, or mine can't anyway. And I like to have them able to revive dead plants, which all becomes, I've discovered, a little bit pointless when you hire the gardening service because they just rip the plants out before you get a chance to revive them. For example, death flowers need to be revived after you first harvest them, otherwise you just get one death flower for each death flower seed you plant. It's possible to get two. Got a green thumb with a gardening level above 5. So this is the garden when she first arrives in the world. She's got almost no money. She's got to sell her produce to be able to get money to continue building her house. She's just got a tiny little house with 3 rooms in it. She doesn't even have a fairy house yet. We had to put the fence up. She's trying to get that dragon to harvest, but it's not harvesting very much, and she can only harvest a little bit before it needs to rest for a while. Yes, she just planted everything and they were all just starting to grow, and then it was the night of the full moon. So I panicked and I put a fence around it so the zombies wouldn't come and tear a garden apart. Put so much work into it. So that's why they've got that fence, and it's a strangely shaped fence because I was trying to save simoleons and only put it around the part where she'd already planted something. Simoleons are very scarce here at this point. She's given up on the dragon, so she just decided easier to just to harvest herself. She's obviously been to the greenhouse again. She's got some more seeds to plant. I'm not videoing everything she does. This is just so you get to know her, because she's going to play a significant part in the future of some of the family back in Moonlit Falls. But she's got to get her lifetime wish here first and do a few other things. We'll pop into Sunset Valley every so often just to check on how Donna's going. But mostly we're going to stay with the family in Moonlit Falls until Donna moves in there. She's happy. There she is. And of course, being a fairy, she's got to explore all of her fairy abilities. And one of her abilities is to project an aura. So she decided to project an aura. And here she is, blue aura around her. Now she's just learning her gardening skill, discovering the dragon isn't quite up to the amount of gardening she wants it for. And it must have just gone past 5 a.m. and all the plants have gone to the next stage. So she's gone out the front to fly her dragon. You can see over the ocean. She gets the beautiful vista moonlit while she's on this lot. That's why it's such a shame to have it devoted to a horse stable or something. Unless you play with horses all the time, you've got really no need to be here. And I almost never play with horses. Yeah, she forgot to pay her bills. She didn't have any money anyway. And the repo man came when I wasn't watching, and quite a lot of her stuff got taken. So now you've met Donna and seen her little house, we'll go back to the main household in Moonlit Falls. I just got back to the household and I got a message. Should Don scold Chaz for smashing the doll's house? So I had to go and find them. Oh no, I said yes. And then I had to go and find where it was happening, and look what he's done. Apparently he was having a mood swing. He had to get punished for it. Don told him off and I told him to fix the problem. So everybody else was exhausted and went to bed, but Chaz had to stay down in the nursery and repair the doll's house that he'd broken. And he's got on the bad side of Don. Don mightn't be his father, but he is the father of most of the children in the household. Chaz is the imaginary friend of Gary, turned real, and he and Gary will be becoming young adults shortly. Not in this episode, of course. That's Grumpy James standing there. He's tired, but he's only got to walk about a dozen paces and he's in his bed. See that blue door behind him? That's where his bed is. And I discovered we've got a little group at the front yard listening to ghost stories being told by Pat, the imaginary friend of Percy. He was the most recently made real imaginary friend. And that's Owen standing there. He's been singed at the chemistry table when he was trying to find the elixir to turn his imaginary friend real. And he failed. And now he's all singed and he's not happy. Better go and have a shower, I think, so he can wash all that singedness off him. There's Percy coming out to listen to his imaginary friend telling a ghost story. I have to send Owen off to have a shower. They're all tired. They all should be sleeping. They're all beyond exhausted, and it's school in the morning. This is Sunday evening, and then it's getting late. It's getting close to midnight. It's time they were all sleeping. Olivia's a bit upset about the stinky surroundings, so I told her to put the old newspapers in the bin. And here's Chaz fixing the doll's house. It might take him a while, but he'll finish fixing it before he's allowed to go to bed. I've ended up having to start putting double-decker beds in the bedrooms because I decided that when Percy's imaginary friend became real, it was just going to be a bit too hard to add one more brand new bedroom. So I gave him Percy and Pat to share a bedroom with a double-decker bed in it. There is another bedroom I've built that I forgot about. It's got nothing in it yet, but that's probably where I'll put Owen's imaginary friend when he becomes real. It's sort of easier to get a couple of children to share a room than teens, although Percy and Pat will be teens shortly. There you go, the doll's house is fixed. And then finally Chaz gets to go to bed, and then his mood swing ends, which is wonderful. Little Bindi sure knows when to choose to dig a hole. He waits until everybody's gone to bed and is sound asleep. The whole household is sleeping, so Bindi digs a hole near the swimming pool. And he buries a seed while he's at it. Just walk off all innocent and pretend he didn't do it. I'm wondering if he's looking for a ghost. Haven't seen any ghosts around here lately. Not since they lost their gnome of the dam that they had at the very beginning of the game. They always were haunted by lots of ghosts. But that gnome died. And the ghosts stopped coming. There's Bill. He's not a ghost. He's just standing out in the yard. So they're all getting up. We're getting ready for school. They have to have their breakfasts. Lucky I put that extra table there. There's so many of them now. Getting them to school in the morning and getting them to bed at night is turning into an exercise in bedlam. There are just so many of them. I'm starting to need to pause the game. But when they've all got to have showers before they go to bed, there's not enough showers in the household for everybody to do that. All these problems that keep popping up that need solving. Do I add extra showers or do I change their routine a bit? I don't want to put too much into the house or they will end up, the game won't be able to operate. Now, there's Don. He's got himself quite large again. I don't know where he's up to in his pregnancy. I haven't seen him expanding like I did last pregnancy. He's just big. Okay, we got him into his everyday outfit. There's Ginger Puss waiting for an encounter with Olivia. She's cleaning up a bit after breakfast. There's only Don and Olivia and the cat that's meowing very loudly, and a little girl, toddler, at home, little Mary. She's having a squeal and a cry. Maybe it was her screeching that I heard rather than the cat meowing. The cat meows loudly like that too. I think she needs to work on her peg box and xylophone skills. She can walk and talk. She needs to learn to potty as well. We've done so much of this toddler training, it's a bit hard to remember if the current toddler has done it or not, but she has not done very much yet. And she's just starting with her peg box and she hasn't yet got a clue. She keeps trying to put the round peg in the square hole, or the triangular hole. I'm not interested in the round hole yet. heard this funny noise and discovered it was Don playing one of the arcade games. And it is the game that we got as a gift, a mystery prize for when we used to be able to get them when we bought Sim Points. That was before we had to get Sim Points from Origin. That particular arcade machine was a mystery gift from buying Sim Points. I'd much rather he was doing something useful, like reading recipe books or something, like his wife is. There's Olivia, she's still onto her recipe book reading. She's sitting in a nice sunny corner there. You can see out. That's the one corner of the lounge dining room area, kitchen area. Now little Mary, she has done some learning. She's advanced in her peg box skill, and she's starting to get the pegs in the right holes. And she's happy about it. Claps her hands when she succeeds. I got a surprise. I wasn't expecting this. Don's baby's arriving. Now, we'll keep it. Here he is. He's about to give birth. Somehow that didn't get recorded, but he has a baby boy called Max. Now, Max is safely in his crib, and Don is taking a moment to potty train Mary. That won't take long. I've got potty training down to an art form. Just click the potty 3 times and say, potty train Mary, potty train Mary, potty train Mary. Then go off and leave him to it. Next thing you know, it's all done. I thought that was cute. Little Bindi was looking up at Olivia, and now he's gone to look out the window. He's just a little bit too tiny to get a look through that window, but he thinks he's looking through the window. I suppose that's the main thing. He's so cute. Olivia's just learnt another recipe. She's got quite a lot to go. She's got 3 days off work. She's only working about 3 days a week now. That kitchen bench has really needed cleaning badly, and I was thinking about getting someone to do it, and then Chaz just went straight and did it all by himself as soon as he came home from school, before I even knew he had come home from school. School is out, and of course little Sims have gone to various homes, and that is Alfred Hopcraft. And he's a bit of a worry because Cindy has taken a liking to him and she really wants to get to know him better. I want her to be paired up with Bill, not with some fairy called Alfred. We'll have to wait and see what happens, because I see trouble is brewing between those two. And not negative trouble. They seem to like each other a little bit too much. Owen had gone to somebody else's house after school, so I sent him home and he's just arrived. He's standing there behind Alfred with his imaginary friend, Patches, I think, standing beside him. I'm not having a little sim running around the house called Patches when he becomes real, so I'll have to think up another name to call him. Don's going downstairs now to start working on making elixirs because he still hasn't made the imaginary friend potion. It's James. I've had him cooking, trying to prepare some meals. I got him to cook some goopy carbonara, but it came out all black and horrible, so I think it's just going to go in the bin. Alfred's decided he's hungry and he's going out to the little outdoor eating area to get himself something to eat out of the fridge. It sort of concerned Cindy a little bit, but she's obviously going to go and look after the baby since Alfred's not there anymore. Oh, that's right. Owen had to do his homework first, so that's what he's doing, and then he's got to go downstairs, work on potions. Gary's sitting there quietly in the middle part of the seat there. He is reading fishing books. He didn't seem to have any recipes that he can read at the moment. His cooking skills not very high. I'll have to start working on some of his skills because he's going to have to age up to young adult within an episode or 2 from now, I think. Little Patches is standing there waiting patiently for Owen to finish his homework. So they're going to sit on the chair and have a little chat, talk to each other through Gary, who's ignoring them completely. Owen is going to go downstairs and work on the potion. He's got quite a lot of work to do on potions yet. I don't think we'll get this imaginary friend turned real in this episode because it hasn't had a potion yet, but it's quite cute seeing all 3 of them sitting there together on the chair with Gary in the middle ignoring them completely. There goes Patches. Now, this is where Bill is. I got a note to say he's about to get arrested, and there was a policeman there thinking he was okay. And that invisible sim standing there, I'm almost certain, is a policeman. So I told Bill to go home. He doesn't realise that Cindy's been all chatting with another bloke, a teenaged fairy. I'm not sure if he's aware of what Cindy's up to. I'm not real sure what Bill's up to either. He could be equally as guilty. He's gone home to somebody else's house after school. So Patches is keeping an eye on Owen, making sure that he keeps working hard on that potion, or maybe just waiting eagerly and hoping for the best that Owen's he's made one, but it's not the one that Patches needs. So we'll get him to start work on another one straight away. I think Patches is just going to stay there, waiting patiently for as long as it takes. And it does take a really long time for each potion, although sometimes he gets it really quickly, but not often. It's mainly a really long, slow, hard slog. I thought this would be a different angle to go for, not quite so boring. We can actually see the expressions that Owen gets on his face as he works on making the potion. All of those expressions are wasted if we can only watch him from behind. Yes, and of course I've got Owen working hard down in the basement trying to find a potion, and the alien decides that Owen's the one they're going to abduct tonight. Look carefully when the spaceship turns up. From this angle, you can actually see the alien in the spaceship. See the alien? Owen's gone. Bye, Owen. Have fun. I'd say there won't be any more potions made tonight. This is just after midnight too. It's a very early abduction. They usually happen, about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. There's always lots of booby traps set in these houses when you've got lots of teenagers in them. See that little thing beside the footpath? That's Patches, waiting patiently for Owen to come home. There he is. He was sitting down there in doll form, on just as the doll, but when Owen came home, he turned into his live self, and then he just teleported himself to Owen's bedroom where he'll sit as an inanimate doll on the floor while Owen sleeps. I decided to leave the Walker family to sleep. When they wake up, it'll be the beginning of a whole new day with a whole new lot of activities, and we don't have time for that. So let's go check out what Donna's up to. Her garden has been growing. She goes to the Stone's Throw greenhouse to find the seeds. I've placed the greenhouse on a vacant lot. It's not really close to where she lives, but she can get there easy enough. She seems to be getting an awful lot of money trees. It's amazing the number of money trees she's planting. I have no clue. They just occasionally you'll get a seed that you know is a money tree seed, but mainly they're just special seeds. You don't know what they are. Unknown special seed. Now that gardener, I don't know what his problem is, but he doesn't seem to like gardening very much. See how all the seeds are so closely jammed in together there? This is the first fence that I built, but then I expanded it a bit because the plants were all getting jammed up too much. So I added this extra bit of fence on this side and back a bit. And now she's got a whole lot of seeds in her inventory again because she's been back to the greenhouse and she's consigned some of her harvestables because she ran out of simoleons. She needed to go and sell some things, and she did. She gets a lot of money from that. She is rapidly progressing up the gardening career. She's probably not very high in it at this point. I don't know what level she's at. Those gardeners are keeping themselves busy. I'm going to have to redistribute the sprinklers and put a lot more sprinklers out so they don't waste so much time with the watering cans. Watering takes forever. The mushrooms are needed for elixirs. She doesn't have an alchemy station yet, but she will be getting one. Whether or not I get her to learn how to make elixirs, at this point I haven't really decided. I think I'd like her to know a few at least. That's the gardener's truck out the front. And the ice cream truck. Years ago I saw somebody post that had a bit of a bug in their game, and every single road and street in their entire world was clogged with thousands of ice cream trucks, all bumper to bumper. I didn't get that bug, but a few people were getting it at that time. I have had it, not to that extent, but I have had it with police cars in Barnacle Bay, where a whole lot of police cars ended up behind each other. So I've put a few more sprinklers out by now. It's night time and she's in there sleeping in her bed. The roof is still the original reddish colour. I will be changing that to blue because Donna's favourite colour is blue. She's not really overwhelmed with money trees yet, but she will be shortly. There she is, playing in the sprinkler. She must have woken up. It's not really fully daylight yet, so it's very early in the morning, and she's having fun. So it must be 5 o'clock because the plants all just advanced one stage, and now there's so many of them suddenly need to be watered. When the gardeners arrive at 8 o'clock, all of the sprinkles will suddenly come on, and those plants will be watered quickly. Here's the gardeners. Yeah, well, this gardener obviously doesn't want to garden. Here's the one I mentioned before. He wants to play in the sprinkler. Of course, I can't control the gardener. gardeners, so just got to watch him do it. At least it doesn't matter how much time they waste. All of the gardening always gets done, because at the end of the day, when it's time for the gardeners to go home, the mod will run a little script over the entire garden, making sure everything has been watered and weeded and harvested, and all of the harvestables are put away safely in the fridge. Donna seems to collect a lot of money bags in her inventory, so maybe the money bags are going in her inventory rather than the fridge. I don't know. She's practicing to fly. Oh no, she's got the aura of creativity going there now. And see how it goes around the gardeners? Any gardener that's near her, any other sim that's near her, will get a little screen aura circling them. I think it helps them with their creativity, but I don't think they're doing anything very creative at the moment. But if they were playing an instrument, they'd probably learn it a bit faster. Things like that. Yes, I've got Donna upgrading the sprinklers to auto water, but I think I worked out in the end that there's too many sprinklers and it takes her far too long to do it, and she's got other much more interesting things to do with the time she's got, because I need to get her well skilled in a lot of different skills, and she is learning her handiness skill here, but doing upgrade auto water endlessly I don't think is a very good idea for her at the moment, especially when the gardeners make all the sprinklers come on as soon as they walk in the gate. I had to put those fences up for the zombies, and then no zombies turned up. It was a bit of a disappointment, actually. It was the night of the full moon, and she had just planted her first garden, and it was just starting to look nice, and there were no fences. And then the full moon happened, and I thought, zombies! Zombies would eat all of her plants. But they didn't come. It was the first full moon of the game, so maybe it was a bit early for them. They mightn't have initialized yet, although I haven't noticed them come back since. So I don't know what's going on with zombies at the moment. I haven't turned off the full moon. There's the gardeners all going home. I seem to have left one behind. To see her walking off in the distance. I don't know where she was. She may not have even been working in the garden. She might have gone fishing for the day, because there's a couple of good fishing holes just across the street. Hello. Aliens are abducting Donna. She doesn't have any space rocks. She hasn't been out looking for space rocks yet. And there isn't a telescope on the lot. So I don't know why they've come to get her, but they have. That's a view of the place as it is at the moment. I've got some Bindi lights, the circular lights from Bindi in parts of the garden. That's why it's partially lit. There she is. She's home, escaping from that alien. She's not very happy with that alien. I'm not very happy with that alien either. She was supposed to be sleeping. So she must have had a bit of a snooze. And here she is. She's back at upgrading auto water. It's fascinating the way Sims fix things. This is another morning, obviously, another 5 a.m. start. You can see the plants gradually being moved to their next level, their next state of maturity. And so many of them desperately need water. Now this train, this mini train, it's supposed to get the fairy magic to replenish. And it doesn't seem to. I've never noticed. I've put fairies on it a few times, and at this point I've still never noticed their fairy magic improve after riding on the train. So either I'm doing it wrong, or my fairies are doing it wrong, or it doesn't work. So I think we will end the video here. Thank you for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have enjoyed it, please consider giving it a like. That helps with YouTube. And if you'd like to see more episodes without missing any, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. And thanks heaps for everybody who has subscribed. We got to 103 subscribers now. I've been waiting for that 100 to tick over for such a long time. And I got an email from YouTube congratulating me as well. So that was fun. So thank you. Bye bye for now, and happy simming.